Hello, this video is going to be my entry into Lock Junkie's 100 subscriber appreciation giveaway. I think he's been on YouTube maybe a month or two now, and he's already gotten a ton of subscribers and been going through a ton of locks. He's been kicking ass going through these locks, and he set up a giveaway with a ton of stuff. I'll put a link to it in the description and the comment below so you can go check it out if you haven't seen it. But he's given us a pretty cool giveaway entry contest where he's asked us to show our progress with lockpicking. So our first lock we picked, or the first lock we picked for Lockpickers United belt, to what we're looking at picking now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sort of try to summarize 15 years of lockpicking real quick. Right here you can see a photo of when I very first started lockpicking back in high school. This would have been me. This would have been picking my very first lock, or one of my very first locks, a Kwikset lock that was on the doors, the apartment complex I lived at, and it would have looked like this. I liked these because I could take off the cover and repin them, and I made my lock picks out of hacksaw blades, and I would cut them up with a Dremel. Eventually, as you can see in the picture, I got a lockpick set. These were a little harder to get back in the day. There weren't as many people selling them, and it wasn't sold as much as a sport as a locksmith tool. So I was very excited to get my first set of picks. They're no longer in here, but you can see some of this stuff I had. I threw away a lot of it because it was rusty and trash, but here's one of my first turning tools I made out of a knife. A butter knife or a steak knife? Butter knife. Here's some of the first keys I had, and making a turning tool for I believe a Schlag Everest from one of the keys. So it's there. I also did buy some of the locks there. You can see in the picture I had some sort of Kwikset or some similar lock there. There's my little brother supervising right there. That's Zachary when he was very young. He would have been about 3 years old there. I showed him how to open locks, how to use keys, how to get out of the car in case he ever got stuck. I wanted him to be able to get out of somewhere if he did get stuck and was able to have keys or however he needed to. I was also interested in destructive entry. I actually still have this lock there that you can see. I was lighting this on fire and then dunking it in water and seeing if the temperature change would crack it enough that you could open it, and it didn't, but it was a random experiment. I was definitely very interested in all different stuff involving locks. Here's first bump hammer. I don't know why I use this as a bump hammer. I can't tell you. It's huge and obnoxious, but it's from framing. I did framing in high school. Let's see here. Here you can see I was interested in making master keys for TSA locks. So that's taking apart one of those TSA locks and trying to make a key for it. I think I had some success with that. My cousin was running a podcast called Sploitcast. And he also worked with some people doing a show called Hack 5. I went on Hack 5 and showed how to do like an introduction to lockpicking video. My cousin doing Sploitcast took me to ShmooCon. I didn't realize how hard and how lucky it was to get into ShmooCon, so I probably didn't appreciate it enough. It's the first time I saw the Lockpicking Village and Deviant Olam. I had a big ego, very self-centered. I don't think I picked any locks there. I think I was too embarrassed that I was too worried I might embarrass myself and not do a good enough job or something like that. So I don't even know if I missed that opportunity. I didn't know better. In high school, what else did I do? I made a key to a Diebold voting machine that got me some 15 minutes of fame. Johnny Long contacted me, I believe, through my cousin and my aunt, and I got to be a contributing author in his book, No Tech Hacking. I think that I don't remember contributing very much to it, so I think that was mostly Johnny Long being really nice, and I probably just didn't appreciate it enough either, to be honest. But that was really nice of him. Um, and my aunt was interested in lockpicking too. She bought me some lock picks. Like here's one of the CDs from Ken Peterson's picks. And she made me some picks from windshield wiper blades, and actually got her hand hurt when she got one stuck in her hand. But she made some really, really pretty picks, much nicer than anything I ever made. So that was a lot of my high school picking. I do have to admit that it wasn't all like above board. I grew up below the poverty line where some months we didn't know, it was rent or food, and there were months we would eat nothing but potatoes and ramen. So, I didn't always use my powers for good. I definitely abused it at some point. I had a chip on my shoulder. Not excusing it, I'm just being honest about it. That was in high school. You can see I also played around with this safe here. At some point I got interested in this safe, a Group 2 safe. I think that's when I saw that the local ATMs, they just used a simple wafer lock for the cover plate, and then underneath that they used one of these Group 2 safe dials for the actual money. So I was curious how hard that was. I think this was from some safes that I probably stole from a hotel that had closed and was shutting down and was getting ready to be demolished. So I took a bunch of hotel safes. That was the first time I picked a Medeco lock, but that's another story. Yeah, so fast forwarding, went into the Marines after high school. I picked some locks off and on. It wasn't like, I guess, progress. I wasn't picking like harder and harder locks. It was just random locks I would find. These are 3 locks I took off a building in Marja, Afghanistan. I went to now Afghanistan, but there was a unit in Marja, Afghanistan, where lots of people were getting shot by snipers, so they needed a better patrol base, and I was a combat engineer, so we went there to build a better patrol base, and we sort of took over a little section of this market. And when I saw these locks, I we were cutting up the building, so I cut up the building instead of cutting up the locks so that I could take those. Yeah, so these are locks. I was stationed in Japan for about 3 years. I bought these. I've got a Miwa lock somewhere further back. This goes to a Japanese lock. I don't, what's it say here? Kaken. This is one I loaned to somebody, and I just say it as a warning. If a lock's sentimental to you, be careful about loaning it, because I'm not sure when I will get that back or if I will get that back. This one could have been from the Thailand or Philippines. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing from one of those two, so I hold on to it. This is one from Israel that I actually, I started taking it apart when I was drunk, and I lost pieces to, and it's completely fallen apart. Fast forward 10 years. I don't drink anymore. I don't drink at all. But I do like to hold on to this. It's one of many reminders of why I don't drink. It's probably one of the smallest reminders. There's definitely much more significant reasons, and lots of them, why I no longer drink. But this is another one in the list, and I kind of hold on to it as a reminder about the reasons I don't drink. So I've got that. I will say in the military, it was the only time I really got in a hot seat for picking locks. There was a surprise search when at my very last unit at Camp Lejeune. I was in an area that's nicknamed Felony Creek. They have at the time, they had a lot of issues with gun running and different kind of weapons smuggling, and just serious issues you shouldn't have at a military base. So when they found lockpicks, they were very, very concerned, and I had only been at the unit a few months, so they were, I was a target. But long story short, there were enough people at that unit that knew me from Japan and knew that I'd use my lockpicking for good purposes to help people out when we were trying to get through airports and deal with security, or as a barracks manager. So enough people vouched for me that they didn't try to charge me with anything. And they just had me sort of sign some paperwork describing what was in the room. And that didn't, that could have been worse for me. But luckily it wasn't. So then I got out of the military, and over the years, honestly, it was just sort of hit or miss with lockpicking, and I didn't spend a lot of time on it until the past year and a half. I really just jumped back into it again. I've really jumped into it a lot. I got my locksmithing license. I've been going to tool meetings in Northern Virginia, and I've been going through the Lockpicker United belts. So it's probably the most I've ever been involved in lock sport as a hobby, or really as a community kind of thing. And it's definitely been helpful for me, because I know I've learned a lot more about locks in a shorter period of time than I have at sort of any other point fiddling with locks. I definitely think it's a super helpful way to learn a whole lot about locks and help yourself progress through them. So these, I believe, are the first locks I opened for the Lockpickers United belts. I believe for the white belt, you can do it any way you wanted. So I did this fingerprint lock and this magnetic lock, because you can open the fingerprint one, you can just smack and it'll pop open. And this magnetic one, you can smack, or you can actually remove the cover plate and pop it open. So you don't need any picks at all to open these. And it's non-destructive. So here is one of multiple trays I have of locks at this point. All the locks up through here I have picked. These ones, the Gen 2 smart keys, I haven't picked. Over here I've got a buy lock. And what is this? This is a Asa Twin 6000 over here that I haven't picked. So I've got some hard ones over there I've never picked. I've got the Abloy Classic I've never picked. I'd like to get this one. Definitely is on the to-do list. The tools training locks over here. But I guess the next immediate ones I really want to pick are going to be this goal right here. I'd like to do that for the brown belt. And I would also like to do somewhere around here I have my van lock that I'd like to do for the brown belt also. But there's so many locks I still want to pick. I mean, definitely a whole bunch of stuff. There's some purple belt ones, like the Gen 2 Smart Key, and I believe this multi-lock that I still want to pick that I haven't gotten to. And that goes into the other stuff that gets me distracted, like lock design. I think lock design and lock theory is really interesting. Like, I've got a couple of videos on that. I want to do more videos on it. Even in high school, I was interested in lock design. I don't know if I already mentioned it, but I wrote a paper, Higher Security Locks, a two-stage method that got on Tool.Netherlands. I think it was their Black Bag forum or blog. So I've always been interested in high security lock design, and in many ways, as much as I'm interested in picking them and making locks that are pick-proof. And I'm not sure where that's going to go, because I don't think I'm ever going to want to spend the money for a patent. I do find it interesting, but I also know there's limitations to it and limited interest in it. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I don't know where it's going to end up. I guess the other thing I want to just sort of share while I'm rambling and giving all of this lockpicky sort of vomit with you, I'm going to share the other thing that I've been doing a lot of, I guess, the past year too, is I started like collecting locks, which I never really did before. But I'll share that with you a little bit. Here, let me bring this over. I don't know why, but I've just been a little more obsessive with collecting stuff. So some of these locks most of these locks you've probably seen in the videos already. But here's some of the stuff, like little coins, things like this from the 1851 London exhibition, where Hobbs would have picked the Brahma lock for the first time, and I think the Chubb detector. So some random lock ephemera that I think is interesting, like this for Schlosser in Germany. Some Abloy letters from World War II. DAV stuff from World War II, or actually just after World War II. This would have been World War II, Korea. Just sort of random stuff. We got stickers in there, stamps, just random, I guess, lock ephemera. Yeah, that's from Asa Abloy Company. Just randomness. But that is, I guess, the other stuff I've been obsessing with. These are something I got recently that are cool from World War II. Yeah, so you've probably heard of the steel pennies in the U.S. from 1943. Ilco also made some steelhead keys where you could change out the brass keying to recycle them. I don't know. Lots of random stuff. There's definitely a whole bunch of stuff to be interested in the lock sport. And I am definitely interested in a lot of it. And I don't know, I guess I start a lot of projects and I don't always finish them all. So I've got a bit of a mess here right now. But anyways, that is sort of summarizing my lockpick journey in 15 minutes. Thank you for watching. Yeah. And thank you for doing this giveaway. I've enjoyed this sort of show and tell. And I definitely want to check out, I see there's a lot of other people that have posted some videos that I haven't had the chance to watch yet. But I will take the time to watch them and check them out. And thank you for the giveaway. All right. Thank you all for watching.